first question, obviously, I'm sure everybody's mind also have the same question. That Maharishi always were very up for the effortlessness of meditation. But many a times when people think about meditation, they think it is like a difficult process and you have to control your thoughts and things like that. So, how should they approach, or what should they do to really understand how simple it is? And the simplicity makes it more profound because there is no effort really to reach the state. It just requires the routine and the persistence that you do it in tune with the nature and the cycle of the day.
Yes, that's a beautiful question, Sachin. That's, I tried to anticipate that question a little bit in the final words that I was saying.
Right.
The mind, and really the very first thing that I was saying, everybody at every moment of the day, everybody's mind is in a search for happiness. So the mind is naturally looking for anything to experience. This thought about my friend then leads on to the thought about having dinner with my friend, of course, with perfect social distancing. And then it leads on to watching something on television with my friend. And then the mind jumps to the next thought and the next thought and the next experience and the next thing on TV. So the mind is truly always moving like that.
When you meet the friend, you start thinking about the other part, right?
Yeah, then you're thinking about the next thing. So the mind is always looking and looking for happiness. Right. So in many approaches to meditation, people have seen this constant busyness of the mind. And they've said, okay, the mind is like a bee. It's always buzzing around. And if you want the mind to be still, you have to hold it still. And so there have been many practices, which, as you said, Sachinji, those practices aim at controlling the mind. But controlling the bee just makes it buzz louder and get frustrated. And if we've done any practices of trying to hold our mind still, we find them difficult because it's the nature of the mind to move. But if we give the bee a flower, the bee just goes to that flower and drinks the nectar. So if when we practice meditation, we don't try to hold our mind still, then we'll find that the mind will naturally be thinking thoughts. And if we're given the right instruction, the mind will also gravitate to these quieter levels. Gravitate means you know what will happen to this pen if I let go of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to fall. Because there's a law of nature, gravity, that conducts the pen from my holding it to down to my hand. Let me give you an example of this. If someone turns on our favorite music now, where does the mind go? It immediately goes to that music. We don't have to concentrate. We don't have to try to control our mind. Similarly, this inward direction of the transcendent is so charming that if we learn how to let our mind be easy, the mind naturally gravitates to those quieter levels and ultimately to the transcendent. So I hope that answers your question, Sachin.
And one more request, John, with the question. Will you lead a small practice for us?
Yes, let's do that now. Let's close our eyes. If you practice TM like Susan does, then you can just do what you know to do. So what we'll do is we'll sit comfortably first. And we won't try to sit in any special position other than comfortably. And our legs don't have to be crossed. We can be in a nice comfortable chair, on the couch, on a bed. And our arms can be folded across our chest. Our hands can be in any position that's comfortable. And now let's just close our eyes, not trying to do anything special, not trying to meditate or do anything. Just close our eyes. And let's open our eyes. Everybody just easily open the eyes now again. And let's again just close the eyes, not trying to do anything special. All we're doing is one thing, and that's closing the eyes. And let's open our eyes again. Just easily open the eyes. Now, when we close our eyes, naturally, we experience some inner quietness, some inner silence. You can wave if you felt a little bit of inner quietness when we closed our eyes. Yes? So people are waving, good. Now that quietness is the transcendent. That quietness is awareness. That quietness is consciousness. And you see how easily it's there. It's just there. Now let's close our eyes again. Again, we're not doing anything. We're not trying to be mindful. We're not trying to observe anything. We're just closing our eyes, nothing else. And let's open our eyes. So again, naturally, we experienced some inner quietness. How many people experienced some noises in the environment? They were aware of some sounds, cars or, yes, some people did, okay. And how many people had some thoughts come into that silence, that quietness? Yes? You must have had some thoughts. Yes, Daniel, thank you. It's impossible not to have thoughts. We have thoughts. They just come into the mind. So here are two things then that we experience just without doing anything. One was some transcendence, some inner quietness, some awareness. And then we also had maybe some noises, but certainly we had some thinking that came in. And did you notice how easily the thoughts come? They just come. You didn't have to try to think, the thoughts just come. So sitting with our eyes closed then has to be easy, because we've experienced that the quietness is there without doing anything, without trying to do anything. There was some quietness. And without trying to do anything, thoughts came, and they came effortlessly. This is a very deep, important point. Silence, transcendence is there easily, and thinking goes on easily. Now we're going to do this again, and I'm going to teach you a little thing that you can do with your awareness, with your quietness. So let's again just be sure you're sitting comfortably. If you're not comfortable, then shift your position. And again, let's close our eyes and not try to do anything special, just close the eyes. So we're aware of that quietness, and we're aware that thoughts come easily. They just come to our awareness. And we may also be aware of some noises. Now let's let our awareness just be aware of our body. We're not starting with our toes and scanning. We're just easily being aware of the whole body just sitting there in the chair. And then our awareness may be aware of some part of our body. Not looking, just naturally we may be aware of our breathing, or of our seat on the cushion, or of our hands. It could be anywhere in the body there's some sensation. And we're just easily aware of that sensation, or multiple sensations, including our breathing. We're not focusing on it because we don't have to focus. That sensation just popped into our awareness. And it's okay if we have thoughts. That's natural and easy. And if we realize that we've been on a train of thoughts, at some point the train stops. We get off at the station and we go, oh, I was thinking thoughts. And then with what I'm teaching you now, then we just let our awareness come back to our whole body. And then we see what different parts of our body present themselves to our awareness. And now let's stop that and just keep our eyes closed for a little bit now. We're returning to the first thing we did, which is just sitting with our eyes closed. And now let's again open the eyes. So when we let our awareness easily, and I'm underlining the word easily, that means we're not engaging our awareness in fighting off thoughts or anything. And we're also not engaging our awareness in trying to focus or scan. All we did was just let our awareness be aware of the body. And then naturally we became aware of our throat maybe, or our chest, or our head, or our shoulders. It could be anywhere, and it will change. And that's all that we're doing with this practice that I've taught you. And naturally our awareness will go off on thoughts. And you know what grade you get when your awareness goes off on thoughts? You get an A+. Because it happened naturally. And so all we're doing here is just easily, naturally letting our awareness be with the body. Now I'll close now with one final thought for you. Awareness is another word, and there are many words for transcendence. Another word is consciousness. Another word is yoga. Another word in the Vedic tradition is Atma. And that level of creation is the source of thinking, that activity of thinking, and it's the source of everything. And so when that very powerful awareness goes on to our body, when we just let our awareness easily be aware of the body and whatever else we're aware of, noises and thoughts, and that awareness has a healing effect on the body. And that's why we do this. So if you like this practice, I would suggest to do it in the morning for a few minutes. Just sit comfortably and do it for, 3 to 5 minutes. You can do it up to 10 minutes if you like. And then do it again in the afternoon sometime, before dinner. And in the morning, do it kind of first thing before your breakfast. And then sometime in the afternoon that fits into your schedule before dinner. And begin it the way we did. Begin just by sitting comfortably with your eyes closed, not trying to do anything. And then after about a half a minute, let your awareness shift to being aware of your body. And then when your time is up, just look at your watch, and when 3 to 5 to 10 minutes are up, then stop that practice and just sit there with your eyes closed for a minute or so. And that's it. And it's been wonderful to meet everybody. Really very enjoyable. If anyone has a question, just go off mute and ask your question.
I do have a question. When I do this very often, when I'm lying down, my mind is very quiet and I can be quiet for about 10-15 minutes and I fall asleep sometimes.
Yes.
But now what actually, when we are doing this, what is the next step of next step? Just because they'll say meditation, I don't understand the meaning of meditation. I keep quiet, I lie down with eye closed, and my mind doesn't wander. It's very silent. Sometimes I fall asleep, sometimes I don't fall asleep. But what is that process called? What is that? Is that meditation?
This is a form of meditation. It's not transcendental meditation. It is, however, something that is a step in that direction, and that's why I taught it to you. What I suggest, Lena, is that if you practice this sitting comfortably instead of lying down,
Mhm.
it will have a better effect for
Mhm.
healing the body and mind. If you're very tired, then yes, lie down and do it.
Mm.
If a person has trouble sleeping at night,
Yes.
if a person has trouble falling asleep, you
Mhm.
can do this while you're lying in bed before
Mm.
while you're going to sleep at night. Then you
Mhm.
could do it lying down. But otherwise, as a practice, I would suggest doing it in the morning and in the afternoon while sitting.
Then what is the next step?
The next step would be we would have a conversation about if you're interested in the meditation that I know, then we
Yes.
would have to have another talk about that and how it works.
Is there a way I can talk to you personally, or it
Yes,
should be?
be in touch with Sachin, and he can give you my contact information.
Okay.
So we have another
Thank you
question
so much.
Thank you, Lena.
from Dilip. He's calling from India, Pune.
Thank you. Actually, I don't have a question. I was listening to you very patiently, and you have been explaining it very nicely, step by step. If you permit me, I have something to add to make it more simpler.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you. Now, let me a little bit explain, because I have been practicing this for the last 29 years of meditation. And in India, we teach meditation pranayam also and lifestyle. So regarding meditation, it's a very simple thing, okay? Let me explain you. Now, if you have a pan of water, such a big pan, and you're carrying it full of water and you're carrying it, then what happens? Can anybody respond to the water? What happens in the pan?
It's going to spill.
It moves.
It moves. There are waves, right? Thank you. There are waves on the water in pan. Now you want to stop those waves. You want the water to get still. What do?
Keep the pot to the ground.
Yeah, excuse me? Keep the
Just
pot
put
down.
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, just put the pot down. And what happens to the waves?
They will come down by themselves.
They will come down themselves. So what you do, actually what you do to stop the waves,
Stop moving.
what you do?
Nothing.
Can anybody respond?
Just to keep the pot away. That's it, down.
To keep the pot down, what you have done?
Rested, I guess.
And the waves are stopped.
Settled or rested.
So
Resting.
what did you do for the, what actually you did for the waves to stop? Did you went on pressing it from all sides?
No.
No, we
kept
just
it on the still ground.
So to keep it
Just
on the
let
still ground, what you did?
Nothing.
Meditation is an art of non-doing. It's nothing you have to do. Okay,
Hmm.
there's no step ahead. You have to be, let it happen. The process has to happen. John asked, did you have thoughts? Yes, all of us had thoughts. Some may have 2 thoughts, 10 thoughts, 500 thoughts when we're sitting for maybe 5 minutes. So what are thoughts? Reverberations at the level of the mind is a thought. Fluctuations at the level of the mind is a thought. So now, for these thoughts to settle, what you have to do is just be there. Do nothing. Just be there. Consciously be there, just doing nothing. Then the process happens on its own. Let it happen on its own. So, non-doing, okay? Doing nothing is meditation. Thank you.
Thank you, Dilip.
I had a question. John, how did you get started
on meditation?
It was in I was in as an undergraduate. My readings revealed, reading literature, I heard about various artists or philosophers or people who had some experience of what Dilip was describing, of this inner non-doing expanded awareness. And those people always said that it led to more insight and creativity. And I thought, wow, why am I not being taught this in school? And so I made up a form of meditation. And like Dilip was saying, what I would do is I would go and find a tree, and I would stand in front of the tree and stare at the tree and not do anything. And then some other friends from college learned Zen meditation, which is a precursor to what is now called mindfulness meditation. So then I practiced mindfulness for several years. It's a Buddhist meditation. I mean, not mindfulness, Zen. And then some other friends from college learned transcendental meditation. And they said, John, you should learn TM. And I said, oh, I don't think it's for me. Because it seemed at that time, Maharishi Mahesh Yogi was very famous and lots of hippies were learning TM, and I thought it was a fad. And so I told my friends, nah, thanks, I don't need that. But they kept saying, no, it really works and it's really easy. And so finally I went and learned, and that's how I learned. And the first time I did it, I thought, oh my goodness, this is the technique for non-doing. This is the technique that I was looking for. And so that's what I've been doing since 1968.